Hi, welcome to What's Happening. Here are the top 5 stories. At number 1, the House of Representatives has called for a comprehensive investigation into the losses, casualties, and properties abandoned by Nigerians following recent xenophobic attacks in South Africa. The lawmakers also urged the federal government to intensify diplomatic engagement, pursue legal measures, and strengthen bilateral cooperation with South Africa to ensure the safety and protection of Nigerians living in the country. The resolution followed the adoption of a motion sponsored by the member representing Ikorodu Federal Constituency of Lagos State, Baba Jimmy Benson, during Tuesday's plenary session presided over by Speaker Abbas Tajuddin. At number 2, the Senate has passed a bill to repeal and reenact the law establishing the National Insurance Commission, paving the way for the regulatory agency to be renamed the Insurance Regulatory Commission. The legislation, titled the Insurance Regulatory Commission Bill 2026, was passed after the Senate considered and adopted the report of its Committee on Banking, Insurance, and Other Financial Institutions. Chairman of the committee, Senator Adetokunbo Abiru, who presented the report, stated that the proposed legislation was necessary because the existing National Insurance Commission Act of 1997 had become outdated and no longer reflected the realities of Nigeria's evolving insurance industry or global regulatory standards. At number 3, the Central Bank of Nigeria's Monetary Policy Committee has opted to keep the monetary policy rate, which is the country's benchmark interest rate, unchanged at 26.5%. It reached the decision following the MPC meeting held in Abuja on Tuesday. The CBN Governor Olayemi Cardoso, who announced it, said that while domestic economic indicators show resilience following past structural reforms, heightened global geopolitical uncertainties, particularly in the Middle East, continue to pose risk to energy prices and domestic inflation. It also retained the cash reserve ratio for deposit money banks at 45% and 16% for merchant banks and 75% for non-TSA public sector deposits. At number 4, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on Tuesday sacked his Soviet-trained army chief Oleksandr Syrsky following a political crisis triggered by the removal of a popular young and tech-savvy defense minister. The Ukrainian leader announced he was appointing Joint Forces Commander Mikhailo Drapty in his place. Syrsky, 60, had served in the role since 2024 and was among Kyiv's most experienced commanders, having led the defense of Kyiv at the start of Russia's full-scale invasion in 2022. His removal came after days of protest in support of ousted Defense Minister Mikhailo Fedorov, who accused Syrsky of forcing him out of stalling his attempt to reform the military. At number 5, Chelsea signed England midfielder Morgan Rogers from Aston Villa on Tuesday in a deal British media valued at £117 million, a price that smashed the transfer record for a British player. The transfer surpasses the previous record fee for a British player set by Manchester City when they signed England midfielder Elliot Anderson from Nottingham Forest for £116 million earlier in July. Rogers is the most expensive signing in Chelsea's history, eclipsing the £107 million paid to sign Enzo Fernandez from Benfica in 2023. That's all for now. See you next time on What's Happening.